So to start, the mysterious picture you see on my back, that's a very important and very powerful place on Earth. It's a place that's been built by humanity before recorded history, and that's in Crete, in Greece.
Mm.
And it's called the, I may remember the name, Asclepion. It's Asclepion of Lessos. Lissos was the name of the town that doesn't exist any longer. It's a very remote place in Crete. It's very hard to get because after that place were built a very long time ago, there was a big earthquake in the Mediterranean that actually destroyed the Mycenaean era and started the Greek era. So it was before the Greek, it was like really Greek. It was Crete before that. And that place was built, dedicated to the god of medicine, a son of Apollo called Asclepius, or Asclepios in Greek. And Asclepius, you know about him without knowing it. You know the symbol of medicine we have, especially on pharmacies. You see that snake being curled around a stick. That's a symbol of medicine. Is that actually the stick of Asclepius? And the stick of Asclepius with a snake growing around it. And now we know what really represents. I say it was originally either two snakes or a double snake or a two-headed snake called around the stick. And that symbolically basically represented DNA, represented the coil of the genetic background. Now, to go back to that temple, that's right behind me, that's the floor, that's the ground floor. And the big walls, and it's built on a very powerful telluric place. I was there, last year, the year before that, and every time, you can really feel the energy. You touch the rocks around, you feel the vibration. It's pretty powerful. And the particularity of that temple is that the big practice of Asclepius, the god of medicine, was very oriented toward dream time and what we called incubation. And that's how people were going through the healing process. And this is basically the third chapter of the second book we haven't talked about yet. Now we've been in all those classes about the first chapter, about the difference between allopathic and holistic approach to medicine. And the second chapter, we went through a little bit more last week about the healing process through emotional processing. And third chapter is that how do this emotional processing happens naturally in ourselves. And that's why, working with dreams always been so important. Working with called psychology. Actually, the founding father of psychology in the Western world, Sigmund Freud, based his whole practice on dreams also. So this is that place where for thousands of years, and there's still people going to that place. That place is not easy to reach. It's a very remote part of Crete, on a southern part of the islands, which there's no one living there almost, very small villages. And to get to that place, it takes either taking a trail that goes up a mountain and down in the other valley. It takes a 2-hour walk on the mountains, or you have to go around, rent a passage through you have to rent a passage from a fisherman, local fisherman, who it's going to bring you there. It's a little 20 minutes, ride on the on the fish boat. for like 15 euros round trip. He has to come back and get you because, I mean, yeah. So anyway, this is the temple, and that temple has been visited by people from, never been interrupted. And now it's the archaeological dig, so it is preserved. But you can see when you go to the temple itself, it's placed right on the foot of a mountain, and the energy is very strong there. And you find, candles and pictures, and people come and practice. So it's that's we're gonna have as a background today to talk about Dreamtime. But before we get there, I want to answer questions related to the previous classes we've been through, understanding what is really a true holistic approach to healing, meaning working with the body, working with basically from a working with peace, building peace inside the body, instead of fighting and having a war against diseases. So really getting to a place where understanding that the disease is always a good reason to be there. And that reason is good. So it has to be respected and to be worked with. Again, any disease points very precisely your path of, not only the path of recovery, but the path of healing, which means you're gonna end up much stronger than before you were sick, much stronger and beyond as a person, with more maturity, more solidity, more mental clarity. Okay, so any questions about that? Even, remember what you might think might be a stupid question, but probably the most important question to answer before we can move along, because we're going to get into pretty esoteric places there. So, working with dreams. Any questions? No questions? No one waving? No, let me see. Chat, I see there's 3 chat questions there. Let me check.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay, so that's old. That's the old thing. So let me turn it off. There we go. No chat. Okay, so let's get to it. So emotional processing. So let's get more into the biology of it, because you get, from our very Western rational thinking oriented, unfortunately, not so rational sometimes, because once when we don't understand something, we're trying to make sense of things. And what happens? We end up working with imagination, so making up things. So really understanding what dreams are, it's a very important step. It has to be very down to earth, basically. It has to be functional. So why do we dream? What are the dreams? Where is that coming from? So of course, coming from a Western perspective, working biology, people are looking for a little place in the brain where we have a little video camera getting like a movie coming out. That doesn't exist, okay? The dreams are not coming, actually, not even coming from the brain. And again, let's go back into understanding the differentiation of the mind into the 5 intelligences. So we have that spiritual axis from water to earth toward fire. So where is that intelligence in the body? Where are instincts coming from? From water. Where is the fire that makes you like things in life? Again, it's not so much the brain. The role of the brain is to bring this intelligence to consciousness. The role of especially the frontal part of the cerebral cortex connected with the capacity to think and to reflect, meaning that using that extraordinary mental capacity to set ourselves back in time or ahead of time, but in case out of here and now, be able to bring ourselves out. So that's the connection. Bring consciousness, yes, it needs really the role, the infrastructure of the brain to get us there. But the intelligence really is inside our blood. It runs through hormones. And so the structure of that intelligence is actually our endocrine system. That endocrine system that's been described from all the civilization, but ours, into being the spiritual axis of the mind. And that's where we had a practice about we call the fountain of life, or the tree of life, and also called the macrocosmic orbits for people that are more into Taoist practices and Qigong. But it is the same thing. It's made of those 7 main glands in the body, meaning that the pituitary and the pineal and the base of the brain, that's the connection with the brain actually. So the pineal, the very important glands we're going to use, that's used a lot for dreaming. The pituitary, which is called the master gland, that's the gland that makes really the connection between the central nervous system and the endocrine system. And then we have the thyroid in the throat. We have the thymus behind the breastbone. We have the, we call the solar plexus because it's complex. It's made of the endocrine function of the whole area here. They involve mostly the pancreas, but also the endocrine relationship between the pancreas and the liver. So that's there's a lot of things going on here at the endocrine level. Then we have the adrenals coming out right out of the kidneys, and we have the reproductive glands. So 7 glands, 7 or regions in the body that makes that spiritual structure of the body, spiritual structure. Why? Because that's what we keep enriching throughout our life, and what gives us, we call the attraction to our life purpose, and be able to build on it, and be able to attain it, and be able to have a satisfying life, basically, the life we share with others. So yeah, again, spiritual access is to share with others. We share spirit. Any questions about that? So 3 main zones of the mind. Instinct coming out of the genetic background. And where is that intelligence? Every single cell in the body's got it. DNA, we call the DNA as a title. It's mostly because it goes way beyond the genetic background imprinted in that record. Now we know that the human genome is not able to be responsible for all that genetic background. We have the protein, we have the whole structure, of the fascia, and everything. So it takes the whole body really to carry the whole mind. And the fire, that's another part of different endocrine glands. So we have water, genetic background from the sexual glands, kidneys, and again, those are generic titles for everything that's involved to get those reflexes out in the system, to be able to walk like our ancestors, to be able to carry out all the lessons learned by the ancestors, to be able to have pattern of habits that makes us to continue basically the unfinished business of a whole culture behind us. So we're continuing with the same kind of pattern. So be able to recognize that, differentiate that intelligence is very important, because it does, you all back up, and we're backed up by and supported by all this information, all the energy that's coming from the past. This one there come from very, very far in time in our before recorded history. So talking about 4,000, at least 4,000 years, 5,000 years. Then, of course, we have Earth, that's our body. And when you say I am, that's the place called the solar plexus here, that is very sophisticated place that involves the pancreas as a gland, but anything that connects with the feeling about yourself. That's the roles of those hormones in there. That's what anchors ourselves in the present and give us that intelligence that allows us to be functional. What's happening right here, right now? How can I adapt to the situation from what I know from the past, so what I want in the future, how I feel, and what I think, which is the other axis, which is the soul axis, personal. So the belief system we built, and belief system is very important because that's the we call sanity. What is sanity? Is the capacity to place our discourse within a frame that can be understood by people around us. So that's why we have to share a culture, an educational system, a language. All this is part of rational thinking, we call the wood intelligence, because it's capacity to grow and using that energy and that universal life energy, the source that makes things grow. And so where is that? It's not only in the nervous system, it's everywhere in the body. And it's the capacity to make those nerves grow. So it's beyond our nerves, of course. And the essence of our personality, our essence, we call a soul, and that's our emotional body. Emotional body connected with the way we feel and the way we are made to feel according to any kind of living situation here. So learning to be able to grow from life experience. And that's what get us to acquire, we call maturity. And again, this soul axis is out of space and time. It's not on this, it's only anchored to the spiritual axis through Earth at the center. So Earth is a crossroads between our spirit and our soul. Yeah, and a symbolic cross we find in every culture and every spiritual tradition. It's not only a cross, it's a wheel, but the wheel needs to have a center in order to turn, and that's the Earth. That works? So any questions about that? The biological structure of the mind. It goes way beyond the brain. Yes?
There's a question. Can you clarify which gland is associated with the third eye, or yin tang, the pituitary or pineal?
Neither. It's you, okay? The third eye, it's your capacity to have consciousness. You might have a third eye. I mean, we all have a third eye. I mean, it's see, that's way very Western. We're looking for the piece of meat where things are coming from. I mean that anatomy is the most important part. In classical Chinese medicine, there's no such thing as anatomy. The only anatomy there is energetical anatomy we call the meridian system. And that runs in a very precise way in the body. When in Chinese medicine, they talk about organs. They don't talk about the organs. They talk about the function of the organ. Okay? So the third eye is a function. It's not a piece of anatomy. It's your capacity to be conscious, to have consciousness. That involves the whole, the whole endocrine system. And yes, of course, it's going to be a consciousness that comes out of the front lobe of the cerebral cortex. So you might say, okay, yeah, it might be the cerebral cortex, might be the brain. But no, because the brain by itself cannot do that. And yes, you need the pineal at the center to make the connection between the central nervous system and the endocrine system. So you might say, yes, it's the pineal or the pituitary. No, think about function, not about piece of anatomy. Because again, from a Western perspective, you're going to look for the drug that's going to enhance that particular part of your body and everything. No, forget about this. It takes the whole body to get you there. It doesn't matter how bright your brain can be. If you have a sick liver or bad large intestine, this mental clarity is not going to appear. Okay. So again, from a true holistic perspective, that's why, again, one is not one, the singularity, but it is the one, the whole one. It's we call the zero, the Zen, the Zen circle or whatever you find in Taoist temples and Zen temple. It's not a void. This means the whole thing. It means the one. And so when we talk about consciousness, think about one consciousness, not the pituitary. Pituitary by itself is useless. All right. Yes. Any other question? Does that answer the question? Okay. It's a very important question. It's very good to clarify really those differences, because again, it's a different paradigm. In order to have that viewpoint, you have to be able to come out of the old paradigm, the old allopathic number one and building blocks kind of paradigm. There's no building blocks from, even if you detail, you have to understand you have to make the differentiation. So you're going to detail things, but those details are part of the one. It's not only 1 + 1 = more, and eventually by adding more, you give the whole thing. No, you have the whole thing from the beginning. If that one single piece is not connected to the one, you're not going to get anywhere. First, you have life and existence. Then you have the parts. From the Western perspective, we have to build from the part that eventually we get the consciousness, the whole of existence and life. No, it's no such thing. And it's like if you build a house, you have to have a blueprint first. So the house has to exist already at the conceptual level before you build it. That works? Basically, it's about being practical, being functional, and coming out of this way of thinking where everything is in the imagination and fits the shoulds, the way the thing should be. There's no such thing as should. It's just the way things are from that paradigm. That works? Okay. So I'm going to remind you, that's part of the practice, to get your mind to grow more dendrites, more synapses, and be able to penetrate and stay in that paradigm of healing. That's the only way we get. That's the only way I got it myself. To me, to lose my hair, to lose my teeth, took a long time. Now I'm trying to share it, and hopefully you guys get it faster than I did. Okay. All right. So from the structure of the mind, we went last week to that emotional body and how the emotional body grows. It makes you grow as a person, and by digesting emotions. This concept of emotional digestion, very important, because you don't need to understand what to digest when you eat. Only if you are really obsessed by diets, you're going to think about, okay, I have to eat this and that in order to have that kind of vitamin, that kind of carbohydrates, that kind of protein. Your body doesn't care. Your body is going to pick whatever it needs if it's healthy, and usually it is if you're alive, and it's going to choose whatever it needs, not only to give you life, but to make you yourself, giving your own personal life with what you need in order to exist and to fulfill your mind, including your spiritual access. So that means that from that perspective, it's useless to try to have the perfect diet Because that perfect diet, you already have it. That's what you eat every day. That's the diet that keeps you the way you are. And of course, as a good Westerner, you don't like the way you are, you want to change. Because the whole education is to follow some kind of, not even a role model, but trying to imitate. We were educated not to be ourselves. So what happens? We try to identify with things that are not ours, and there is the part of our body, our emotional body, and especially our physical body, very frustrated. You need to be satisfied. You cannot be satisfied if you eat someone else's diet. So getting in touch with our own inner truth, that's most important. And one of the way there is to be able to let the rational thinking of that consciousness be playing the role is designed to do, which is to step back and relax and contemplate. And the role of rational thinking and consciousness is not to direct you. It's not to follow any shoulds, but it's to give yourself the widest ranges, widest range of possibility, and not to choose. Let yourself choose according to your pattern of habits, according to what you really like, according to the way you feel, and according to right here, right now, what you have to do. So that's why this is the practice we did last week about checking the menu on a restaurant, really contacting all the intelligences in order to have a statu quo, in order to have a consensus for the statu quo, not only imposing the will of only one of the intelligence, and that's called mental abuse. And that mental abuse can come from everywhere. If it comes from rational thinking, which is very, what we're educated for, that's yes, mental abuse. It's forcing against the will of your whole self. If it comes from emotional side, imposing just the way you feel, what's the name? There's a name for that. It's a pathology. It's called narcissism. It's like, oh, that's just the way I feel, the way I look, and the way I know I'm right, I'm the most important. That's craziness. If you follow your fire, same thing. Your fire can make you completely crazy and get you way into the future and go beyond everything and disconnect with the reality of the present. And of course, if you come from the past, that's the way I survive. And that's the way, that's paranoia, basically. So paranoia in the back, you have, how do you call it, the psychosis, in the front, you have violence and abuse on your consciousness, and you have narcissism on the other side, and all that creates a war on your body, because all that doesn't apply right here, right now. So again, we have to reverse all that. We have to bring everything on the table. We have to bring, things that makes you comfortable from the past, things that attracts you for the future, things that matches your belief system and the way you feel, and only your inner earth intelligence has to take decision from there. And what applies right here, right now. Then you have consensus. Does that work? So training yourself, go to the restaurant. Now, of course, with the pandemic, it's hard, but I mean, you take something to go, it's okay. And when you come at home, that's even better, because when you come at home, you can modify, you can add things that you really want. If you want the different kind of spices, if you want to add more things or to take out something, to really adapt it to your immediate needs. So that's the way to be functional. That works? Okay, we're back on track now. So from that perspective, we're going to focus, we're going to focus more into that huge dimension of emotional processing. So the way emotional processing works, actually, let's start with the way that doesn't work. Emotions are not supposed to be understood, okay, because they're not rational. So it's not about understanding them. It's about accepting that you have them. That's different. Because if we work with rational thinking is designed, especially in civilization, to solve problems. So that means that you're going to turn your bad feelings into problems to solve. Well, good luck. They're not rational. You cannot solve them. You cannot even create a problem out of them. That's what I always say. With emotions, no problem. That's good news. But the bad news is that there's no solution. So that's the wrong path. And we've been experiencing long enough to know better now and trying to explain emotions away. That doesn't work. That's actually, it's called denial. It's hypocrisy. It's, trying to hide from the truth. No, we want to develop this we call meta intelligence that requires a very important tool. We need to be able to work on meta. And meta is not just by chance, we call meta. Meta is the element that we cannot just bend down and pick up from the ground. Wood, yeah, it's all around us. Earth is right here. Fire, yeah, it's sun and all that. And the water you use comes right out of the spring. Metal, no. Metal, you have to extract it. You have to dig in there. You have to find it. You have to look for it. Looking inside the earth. So looking within yourself and looking for what it is that you really feel. Digging for your metal and extracting it. And once you extract the metal, you cannot just use it. You have to melt it. Melting it, that means you have to have your fire in there. You have to be driven by your spiritual access. Why should I heal? Why should I change? Right? That's how we need a disease. And the disease always comes directly from our spirit. And so spirit that says, oh, look, the way you feel, the way things happens to you, the way with the experience you got, you cannot possibly fulfill your life purpose like that. So I'm going to give you a disease. I could kill you. You can fulfill the purpose. Hey, no problem. Come back. No. Spirit is very patient. So instead of killing you, I'm going to give you cancer. Okay? So, yes, cancer, you might die from it, but you have to go through a healing process first. You might heal from it. And if basically the spirit is give the disease that's going to guide you through the very step you need in order to be able to go back into your spiritual track, be able to enjoy life, sharing the life, and getting yourself to your life purpose. Yeah? So again, the reason to get the disease from a true holistic perspective. Now, in order to heal from it, we need to grow, because again, it takes the basic three factors to heal from anything. Number one, you have to have the energy. Okay, so you cannot, if you have a kid, you don't have the energy for it, so you have to protect yourself with a lot of denial. Traumatic event happened to you, forget about it. So you don't really forget. You choose not to remember. And there is a very specific work in your nervous system that cuts out your access to that kind of memory. The memory is imprinted in your body. You're not going to lose it. It's going to come out only when you have the support system, the energy, and the maturity to be able to outgrow, be able to digest that the result of those events without being destroyed. And if it doesn't destroy you, it's going to give you life. It's going to give you a stronger life, a better life, in a way that you don't get affected any longer by those pathological factors. So again, healing is going beyond where we have never been before. It's not about going back where the way you were before you got sick. No, because that's what got you sick. You don't want that. You want to grow, you want to outgrow yourself. You want to be to that place of not being negatively affected any longer by the same events in your life. Okay? So again, I pause a little bit to see if there is any question, because that's a very crucial concept to understand from that holistic paradigm. That works? Don't worry, I'm going to keep repeating it every class.
I have one question.
Yes.
Is okay, so there's these three factors we need to heal, like have enough energy, support system, and maturity.
Yes.
Yes, I find with some clients that what you do if one of these three is not there? You just wait, or can we?
You don't have a choice. You don't have to wait. You cannot feel anything. You won't get sick. Your spirit is not going to make you sick until you have whatever it takes to heal. That's why, people say, oh, if you're young, you have all that much, so much more energy, you never get sick. No, you don't have the energy to get sick. That's why. And there's only one way not to get sick, is to be weak enough. So when you're weak, no symptoms. But as you get a little older, you get a little wiser, or hopefully a little much more wiser. And you have life experience. You build your support system around you and within yourself. Then your spiritual body will say, now you have what it takes. That emotional charge that you hold in your body, you don't feel bad, that's good, okay? But that part of your body doesn't feel good because it has to hold the charge. And that's how the memory comes out. So it's called emotional cyst. The cyst has to burst out in order to heal. And that's called the healing process. So those three factors is going to work together to eventually get you to a place where you can afford to get sick. Before that, you cannot have it. And you're just going to die rather than get sick. That's what people do all the time. There's something going on here. I just lost the screen. Do you still see me?
Yeah, we see you.
There's something going on here. Oops.
We can see you and hear you.
Okay, let me get... Oh, here, I'm back. It's my computer just playing games.
Mercury's in retrograde.
Yeah, well, they're having a life of its own. So now we're talking about if one of those factors is missing. It's there, we have everything in process. Life is about movement. So that means even if you're a young kid that just got traumatized by something, you cannot afford to even remember what happened, it's okay. But somewhere in there, your body, hasn't forgotten. Actually, your body knows very precisely how to guide you, even in your breath, so you don't feel what's hidden in there. So in order to be able to miss a target so precisely all the time, you have to know where the target is. So that part of your body never loses consciousness. But that consciousness is not available for your whole consciousness, we call wood perspective. It is the part of you, that earth intelligence that knows everything about yourself. And this cannot be accessed while you're awake, while you are lucid, while your dominant intelligence is based on consciousness. You have to be aware of what's going on. That takes a lot of energy. So the only time you can have access of the reality of yourself is when you lose that rational thinking consciousness. And that's what we call sleep. Sleeping, unfortunately, in our civilization, is not understood. We don't study it. But think about it. Think about one living thing that doesn't sleep. Everything sleeps. All animals sleep. The fish sleep, birds sleep, trees sleep. They not only sleep, they change metabolism altogether. And they switch from breathing out oxygen during the day to hydrogen during the night. I mean, sleeping is a very fundamental part of existence. So metabolism changed completely. It has to save, again, we don't have enough energy to do everything all at the same time. Actually, our brain is much more active. Now we know, because of the machinery we have, all the technology, we know that the brain is much more active at night while you sleep than during daytime, even when you're thinking, your brain's out. So what's going on? What's going on here during sleep? Something, unfortunately for us, is mysterious. We haven't worked long enough yet to really understand. But we know at least there is one part that's important for us in terms of healing, is emotional digestion. So that's basically, I call that way because I discovered it through working through with the digestive system with my clients for what, 40 years now. I mean, almost 40 years. But in myself, yes, easily for 40 years. That's how I learned a lot. I've been sick a lot in my life, so that's how I learned. So the digestive system. And there's an important book that came out in since the 70s, 1970s, so past century already, about this scientific, approach, from this surgeon, a neuroscientist that worked, Michael Gershon, and that actually he didn't discover that the brain, in our head, and the brain, there is another brain in our guts. That discovery, the theory was made out even a century before that. I forgot the name of that guy. It's a French guy, Marie-François something. Yeah, you look at it, you're going to see that already they knew that there was something else in the nervous system. Actually, he did the experiment. He's the one who did the experiment of cutting the nerve access from the brain to the guts, and see the guts keep working. And so it's not only mobilized by the sympathetic nervous system, but to find out now, especially now working with the parasympathetic nervous system, the nervous system that gets enhanced during sleep, and the vagus nerve inside that wraps the whole digestive tract. And something I just discovered recently, that the vagus nerve on the intestine is tremendous. He is built actually like a sock around the intestine. And so the nerves create what we call the enteric nervous system there. And that's mostly made of the vagus nerve. So parasympathetic response. It's very, very important. So that vagus response gets very enhanced during sleep. And of course, all those nerves connection on the, especially on the large intestine, goes way beyond the function of elimination of the guts, of the digestive tract. It gets, that's why I got to the point to say, really, our large intestine is our organ of emotional awareness. The consciousness of those emotions make that connection to the brain, to the called the third eye, to consciousness, to the frontal cortex of our front lobe of our brain, to bring to consciousness. But the awareness of those dreams and the working out of those dreams is done through the guts. And that's why in my back there is a part of the temple where people lie down and dream. And the telluric force are tremendous. And I was there even last June, and lying down there, people having naps or sleeping, spending the night, and connecting with Dreamtime. So dreams. Now I'm not going to get too much detail about all the dream possible and everything, because that's a completely different. It's a huge portal into very different dimensions of consciousness. So we're going to keep. I want to keep the frame, neural frame of emotional digestion, which is already big enough. It's kind of huge. Everything else, I mean, it's especially coming from our consciousness of should and would and imagination. I mean, it's fantasy. So I don't want to get there. I want to work only with what I know works in the body, staying at a really biological level. So the strict biological level, I see that every day when I give treatments. When my hands contact the intestine, work with not only large intestine, but the small intestine and the whole enteric system, freeing the vagus nerve and getting into that rhythm, the rhythm of movement, the motility of the intestine, getting my fingers to follow and even amplify it. Then there is that systematic response that I get on everyone. Basically, the whole area relaxes. So we go from adrenaline waking state to serotonin. Serotonin production, 90%, over 90% of the serotonin is produced in the gut. Serotonin, dopamine, all those neurotransmitters and hormones that's enhance the healing process. And then that from that rhythm, intestinal rhythm, immediately I see the eyes closing and the eyes starting to move. And even if the eyes don't close, they start the movement. That means that that person is into the dream time. And most of the time they fall asleep, which is fine, because they allow them to get their energy where they need it into the healing process. So that's what has been called in antiquity, now this process of incubation. So what does that mean, incubation? Incubation is a term that's used for eggs. And when the egg is fertilized, you have the growing of the chick inside the egg. That's called the type of incubation. So the transformation from the egg to a fetus, and from the fetus to the whole living being. Incubation is also used with butterflies. You have the caterpillar that makes itself a little house, a little cocoon, and they're going to spend some time in there. And during that time, the whole caterpillar melts out. There's no more caterpillar left in there. It's like a brew. I mean, it's exactly what you have in your digestive tract. And eventually, that brew turns into a completely different being we call a butterfly, with wings and everything that comes out of it. So that's called a process of incubation. Incubation means a process of transformation. It's physical transformation. So there is something very physical happening when you sleep. It's a process of incubation of the emotional charges that change from emotional brick. That's the image I like to use myself. And the process of emotions is you have emotional bricks in there that's so heavy. Sometimes they even make like a whole wall in there that you have to break down, little brick by brick, and break down all the bricks into the sand and gravel. But you still need to digest. So the digestion happens during dream time. And digestion means transformation. It's not only the breaking down of the food into protein, carbs, and the fat, and all the vitamins and everything, then it gets distributed. That's just the beginning of the process. The end result of your digestion is that whatever you eat turns into you. How about that? You eat chicken, you eat fish, you eat rice, you eat something, and it's not rice any longer, it's not chicken, it's not fish, it turns into you. It's a transformation, right? So transformation process of the emotional digestion is the same. We start with emotional bricks, things that you feel like this is too much to carry in my life, into something that's going to give you wings. Basically, it's going to give you the angel wings of your soul that allows you to outgrow the pains that are in your existence. To be able to, we call surviving emotionally, it's not surviving. You have to thrive. You have to be able to say, like everyone that went through healing process, say, thanks God I got sick. Because without that sickness, without that cancer, without that whatever disease I got, I would never be able to grow the way I did. So that's the process of incubation. Very big mystery. We don't know what happens. We go through something. It's like it's the magic of life. Something that's intolerable, something that you cannot possibly digest. How can you digest a brick, especially when you establish a whole wall in there? But we don't know. It's like the caterpillar melting out into the chrysalid, turning into mush. But that mush eventually turns into a butterfly. Much more beautiful than sometimes caterpillar pretty nice and beautiful, but most of the time pretty ugly. But the butterfly always beautiful, right? So same thing. You basically grow your soul. You come from a place where you've been completely, squashed, by life. You're being almost destroyed. You've been. It's so much suffering out there, right? And then what? Still alive, okay? So you need to, in order to keep living, you'll be able to follow the first rule of life. You need to be able to enjoy it and to be able to share that enjoyment. So how are you going to do that now? There's only one way. And that way is natural. That's the way you were designed to be. Your body knows how to do it, not your rational thinking. So again, yes, of course, we have method, we have meditation like the fusion and all that, but that's just a lie, just a help, the way you take a medicine in order to heal. See, a medicine is useless if you haven't entered a healing process. No amount of medicine is going to make you heal if you're not ready for it. That's why medicine sometimes works like a miracle for some people, and for other people, they may even get worse when they take the medicine. Because it's not the medicine, it's you as a person that needs to enter and follow your healing process. And the way we're designed to do that is to sleep. That's why when you get sick, most of the time, you don't feel like running around and do business as usual. You lose your energy. you know what? You haven't lost any of the energy. All the energy goes in. And that energy now is for the healing process. So that's why it's very important for you to develop your capacity to have enough energy to heal. So same thing. We're a nation of insomniacs, unfortunately. And why? Because we are exhausted. It takes a lot of energy to sleep in a way that's going to give you satisfaction. And you're going to sleep with satisfaction when you know you'll be able to establish a big load of work in the matter of emotional digestion during the night. And most of the time, those emotional breaks keeps piling up because every day something's happening. Every day something more. So instead of a wall getting smaller with less bricks, there's more bricks piling up. That's called emotional indigestion. And I believe as a nation, that's what we're the most suffering from. And that goes with insomnia, because after a while, there's so much work to do, you don't even want to start to work. And that's something very human. The more work we have to do, the less you feel like doing it, right? That's a very human response. And then, you know, you have all that work piled up on your table. You feel, wow, you know, get you hopelessness, you know, get dispirited, despair. So what to do? And then you have that genius idea. Let's hire someone to help me. Support system. And get some help. That's the most important. You cannot do it on your own now. There's too much. So getting help. And that's why in the healing process, group work so important, works so well, rather than just individual work. Working together. So eventually we're going to get about the dreaming together, but that's a more esoteric practice. And we're going to get, it takes a lot of practice to get that in terms of lucid dreaming, and we'll get to it. But anyway, the processing of sleep needs to be enhanced and needs to come as first necessity in our lifestyle. And I tell you, it takes years to be able to recover from a lifetime of piling up bricks, you know, in our back, basically. So we need to basically give ourselves the time and the energy and the priorities for it. And of course, it cannot be done all at once, but it takes a certain discipline to be able to change, not to have so much insomnia any longer. And insomnia, you know, I mean, the whole nation is insomnia. They say people, oh yeah, I sleep my 7-8 hours. Well, that's insomnia. And 7-8 hours right now, if you live on the northern hemisphere, it's okay because we're around the time of summer solstice. So that's about the length of the night. But sleep should follow the length of the night. And winter solstice, how long is the night? 14, 15 hours, 16 sometimes, depends how far north you live, around that little band of where it's comfortable to live. If you live in the far north, it's much longer. So be able to have the discipline to be able to sleep longer as we go toward winter. And that's what we're doing right now. As soon as we've passed the summer solstice, it was this week, it's already passed. Now nights are getting longer, days are getting shorter. So going to bed earlier, making that a priority is extremely important. And again, it's about critical mass. And now the critical mass is toward insomnia. So be able to participate in having enough discipline to go to bed earlier and to be able to sleep. And for that, there's all the practice of sleeping Qigong, all those exercises and that that's on the website. And I'm not going to go through that now because it would take a whole week of of practice. And we do that on real time when we practice. But anyway, to get to the to sleep, it takes some discipline. So go to the website, check out. I mean, you can even download meditations and practices that helps to sleep better. And to sleep better, basically, it's about chemistry again. So it's not that, don't wait until it's nighttime to do the practice for sleeping. No, the practice of sleeping has to start during daytime and early morning, even right after you get up from bed. You need to think about your next night. Yeah? So first thing to do in the morning is to wake yourself up. That's turn really, because insomnia basically means you're not awake during daytime either. You can't sleep, but you're not awake. So you need to be awake. You need to have your chemistry to wake up. And it's not about adrenaline. That's the wrong attitude. Adrenaline is to force your body to be awake while the body wants to sleep. No, you want to be awake and relaxed. And for that, in chemistry, it's called serotonin. And serotonin is produced when you let your body knows that it is daytime and it's time to be functional. It's a time to accomplish things. So the sunning meditation. Again, go to the website to check out and chinesan.com. You get into developing day after day the capacity to produce more and more serotonin during daytime, to be more awake and more functional, and doing the sunning practice. And that serotonin turns into melatonin at night. That allows you to sleep deeper. So the more awake you can be during daytime, the deeper you'll be able to sleep during nighttime. And the more satisfying you sleep during nighttime, the better awake, the better you're going to enjoy your day during daytime. So it's a matter of cultivation of that sleep waking state. And if you don't have, and that's actually the way out of people, they think, oh, I have depression. No, that's what depression is. That's the very root of depression. It's insomnia. And it's not depression that makes you insomniac. It's insomnia that makes you depressed. That's different. If you don't sleep enough, you cannot enjoy life. You cannot enjoy life. You send the inner message that you don't deserve to live. How can you be happy? No way. So again, it's about working out with a different intelligence in the body in terms of being able to fulfill big part of your life purpose, which is enjoying life. I'm going to take questions in there. Any questions here? Yeah.
Olivier, you want to ask your question?
Okay. Gilles, can I try to speak in French and you translate the question or not?
Yes, you can try that. Go ahead.
Gilles, en fait, je dors de bonne heure, comme tu dis. Je sais que le sommeil est très important.
So I'm sleeping very early, as I've been told. Go ahead.
Mais je me réveille toujours dans la nuit par un rêve, mais un rêve différent. À chaque fois, je me réveille.
Yeah, but I wake up in the middle of the night, every night. So I go to sleep early, but I wake up. And I wake up with different dreams. Yeah.
Et je mets du temps à me rendormir et pourtant j'ai fait le sourire du soleil, l'ensoleillement, je fais l'ensoleillement.
Yeah.
Et en fait, là, je suis épuisé parce que je traverse quelque chose de très, très, très dur.
Yeah. So I'm very exhausted because I wake up in the middle of the night, and even though I do the sunning, even though I do the meditations, I cannot have satisfying sleep. So my answer is that yes, that shows that you have the potential for healing, but you don't have enough energy. So basically, you're spending too much energy during daytime and being caught up into a vicious cycle, an emotional cycle of negativity and anxiety. So that's basically trying to solve emotion during daytime. That's what exhausts your body. See, yeah, okay, wait a second. Now I give you what to do. That's the pattern of habit you have. The pattern of habit is to worry during the day and looking for solutions about whatever is happening. So that's useless and exhausting. Doesn't get you anywhere. But it is part of habit. That's water. Water, and you know how strong water power is. So the only thing that really is going to help your water to change direction is your earth, developing your earth. So connecting, getting into the discipline every day to do something functional, to be something earthy, meaning something that brings you to the present, being here and now. So paying attention to what you do, starting with the cooking, your meals, it's doing something that you know is going to serve you and in the future, doing something that whatever work you do, doing it right. And when you start to get into those anxiety places, those feeling like remembering about things and all that, tell your body that this is not the moment at the time. We're going to do that tonight, while I don't have to be bothered by it. Okay? So basically, you need to save the energy during daytime, so you have enough energy during nighttime to do the work. And yes, I know that's a very common pattern, because again, we're trying to solve. And it's very, very difficult. But this has to change, especially with insomnia. You have to understand that for everyone, it's very difficult for the body to be insomniac. Basically, we need to invest into it. We need to have a pattern of habits that prevent us from getting into that emotional processing that is going on, that should be going on at night. So whatever we do, we have to catch ourselves doing it and be able to change it into something more functional. Being water, you cannot get rid of water. That means you cannot get rid of habits. Don't try. In order to change the kind of results, you have to change the habit. You have to take the habit you have about worrying, about thinking about this is for tonight, and start to get more and more into the pattern of putting that emotional focus of your mind for later at night, and bringing more your mental focus, your mental attention on what you're doing right here, right now. What's functional, what you have to establish. Go ahead, Kaleo. You're muted. I cannot see, I cannot hear you. You have to unmute. Here we go.
Hola, carnal. I just wanted to, if it's okay,
yes,
let Olivier know a few acupressure points that he can use.
Yes.
And one is the yin tang right here, the third eye. So you could place your finger pad, not the fingertip. If you place your fingertip, that's more yang. That's about doing. The yin, the feminine, is the pad. And you place it right on the yin tang on the third eye, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you release it, there'll be a memory there. You'll still feel it. It'll be a memory in the third eye of how you touched it. And when you breathe in, you can bring the breath into the third eye, because the lens of the third eye is very thin. Just inhale very gently, yeah, into the memory of your finger pad on the third eye. Breathe in, and your breath will go back into the pineal gland. And then when you exhale, you let the breath down, and you're going to be moving through the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve starts to relax, and you bring it down, and you go all the way to the bottom of your feet where kidney 1 is. That's a point on the soles of your feet. That's very good for relaxing you and bringing the energy down. That's very good for insomnia.
Yeah.
So this point right here, Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't use the tip of your finger. Use the pad of the finger. The pad is the feminine.
Mhm.
It's about listening,
Okay.
observing. Yeah. Yeah. In a quiet way. Yeah. So yeah, and then when you remove your finger, there'll be the impression there. It'll be
Okay.
imprinted. Yeah. And then you just inhale, and you feel the breath go into the third eye, travel back,
Yes.
yeah, along the optic nerve into the pineal gland. And then when you exhale, the breath just floats down.
Okay.
Yeah, like gentle rain. It comes
Yeah.
down, washing down your body, healing, blessing your body, the vagus nerves, all the way down your legs into the soles of your feet. That's where
Okay.
kidney 1 is.
Okay. Mm.
And kidney 1 is a grounding point.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that's one way. There are other acupuncture points that you
Oh,
can
yeah.
use, but this is really good.
That's a good
Okay.
practice.
Okay.
Right? Bring the yang
Thank you.
energy down.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Mhm.
Thanks.
There's another practice now. It's already 11, already even 15. We need to get into little practice because I like to not only to talk. We need to cultivate and do something more functional. Something that works during daytime that you can do all the time to keep your chemistry right. A big handicap, for people to fall asleep is that once you're pumped up with adrenaline and you're tired, you don't have enough energy to switch from sympathetic to parasympathetic response in the body. And that's why you cannot fall asleep. Especially, you up until like 11 at night, and then after that, you just wake up because that energy gets into your nervous system. So even when you do your practice, you can fall asleep earlier to keep the chemistry so you have more serotonin, meaning more melatonin at night, and be able to stay in that state. So that's a daily practice you can do, you can only do during daytime, is to get your chemistry more pumped up with serotonin and be able to inhibit the habit of being on adrenaline all the time. And for that, you have a very powerful practice with sound called the healing sounds. So the healing sounds, but again, it's not so much the sound, it's to do it right with the right connections, okay? And if you do it right, it's immediate. It happens all the time. So I recommend already to start the process with sunning, if it's possible. And so you start, you have the body conditions. Okay, it's daytime. I need serotonin. I need to be functional. I need to do things. And I need to enjoy what I'm doing. So that's the main thing. So healing sound. So we're going to take the healing sound out of that old esoteric so-called the way the thing should be. And the sound has to match yourself, not the way it should be done. Okay, that's a true holistic approach we have to do, even with meditation. See, being good Westerners, when we look for meditation, the thing is that how should we be doing so it works? There's no such thing. Okay, it has to be personalized, it has to be adapted. So we're going to do only 2 healing sounds. But if you use those 2 sounds correctly, if you do it right from a place of honesty within yourself, this is going to work. And you're going to see that that's the way to talk to your emotional body. So you have to use, it's a sound that's actually a language. And it's a universal language. That means you have to, it's beyond English, it's beyond French or Chinese or whatever. It's a language that your dog would understand. It's a language that any living, even plants, understand. So 2 sounds. 1, earth, I am. How do I feel? So if you're on stress and you feel like, I ask yourself a question, I feel lousy. Okay, so that means you're pumped up with adrenaline. How can you going to change that? How can you make yourself feel good? What kind of sound needs to be put out there? Well, go within yourself. What is the sound of satisfaction? So, forget about your stress if you can, but focus on what it is that you can put in your mouth and have the most satisfying taste. Whatever taste really would satisfy you right here, right now, something exquisite, something really good. So what kind of sound would you do if you have that in your mouth? It's So sound. Yeah. That's earth. So to cover the full earth spectrum, it's not only the sound, the vibration, it's the way it feels. If you feel something that's not satisfying in your life, how do you pronounce it? Right? You don't accept it. This is not good. So you want to move from to that's better. So start with where you are. You are at no. So same sound, but differently. Then you upgrade it to get something more satisfying. That's better. And then you get something even better. Deeper breath. Like Kaleo said, just moving your yang qi down. You're like taking an energetical shower. Drop your stress out of your system. Right? So let's do it. And let's start with that. So you start with I don't feel good. I don't like that. I don't want it. I want to feel better. So and then and let's get into how I can do things better. That's more satisfying. And get something really good in your even better. Yeah. And get the sound really to penetrate your body. And from head to toe. And like an inner shower of breathe and feel in your body already. Feel the change. That's chemistry. You're starting to have more serotonin in the system. So a few more. Yeah. Right now, you're coming from the path of to really progressively changing the chemistry of your body. Thinking about the better future. And that gets you to the second sound. Better future is like you're thinking ahead of how you want your life to be like a paradise. Satisfaction. So from to yeah, your heart, satisfying your heart. From earth to fire. So you start from a place of fire, very cold. Disappointment. So you want to move from to that's better. That's even better. That's more satisfying. That I really love it. Changing the chemistry little by little, using the sound. And then eventually, once you, day after day, when you get to practice, you start your day with and you keep that sound, you keep that feeling, you keep that in your body throughout the day. And eventually we get to other sounds to go to sleep deeper next week. But let's focus on those two sounds, most important. And the sound of satisfaction and fulfillment. If you get it really to vibrate it through your biology. So earth, that's your muscles, that's your flesh. Now you want to feel that vibrating like, through your whole body. I really like that. And that taste nourishes the best spirit of my earth body. And the taste of honey, and the taste of something very sweet, but not too sweet, something very satisfying that really spreads and feed your energy body, your earth energy body. Any questions about that? About the earth sound? See, no question, because you know. Your body knows, there's no question around it. About the sound, earth, not earth, I mean the fire. As you're opening your heart. So basically, see, when you're under stress, your fire gets extinguished. So what's extinguished the fire? It's too much water, too much stuff from the past, too much, all the, it's like a tsunami, it's like a big wave. So you can't even feel the heat any longer, you live in cold. So you want to get to that place, or you're so wet, to eventually start, that's better. Get a little warm, get to the warmth. And the sun is coming out, you go to out to warm yourself up. I feel very better. And eventually, man, more sun and brighter and more, everything more beautiful because more light. Taking that in your blood. Take the sound in your heart and make your heart open and spread the red color. It's a red warmth, the color warmth. Spread to your whole blood. And in your blood, you see the red blood cells in there. And feel all those red blood cells smiling, even laughing. You have a laughing blood. No way you can keep adrenaline in your system if you do that. So at the beginning, you feel, there's so much stress in my life. You go, no, that's not going to work. You have to build little by little, going from, yes, I need something to get things out of my heart. Feels better. To, yes. And eventually, better vision of the future. Yes, that's what I want. Building enthusiasm. This is done through the blood. It's not through brain. Brain, shut it out. No need for it. You need from your blood. So from to If you do that throughout the day, you come at night, all the serotonin you build during the day turns into melatonin at night. That's going to give you the energy to sleep. Because you don't need to spend that energy because you're already exhausted. If you're under stress during the day, you're too tired to switch your chemistry. So your sleep is stressful. So you wake up. Yeah, that's normal. So that needs to change. That's a good way, nice way to change it. Use the healing sounds in a way that's functional, not the way it should be done. And that's, it doesn't work, no shoulds. And the way the things are, not the way the things should be. There's a bunch of chat questions here, I just realized.
Let's go back. There's a couple questions about people who have a piece of their intestine removed.
Yes.
And how that relates with healing. Sometimes they have problems healing or have emotional problems or physical problems still.
So remember that your physical body goes beyond the physical. It has energy first. You have a blueprint. So there's the good news here. Even if you remove a bit, as long as you're alive, the blueprint is there. So that means the energy of your colon, even if you remove the whole colon, it's still there. You still have emotions. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be alive. You wouldn't have survived the surgery. So that means that you have a full potential of everything still. So the meat itself, yes, it is, might be important for a lot of things, but in terms of healing, obviously you're still around. So you're still doing the work. You still be able to sleep and dream. So even though the large intestine is the organ of emotional consciousness, the part of your colon that is reflecting the consciousness is still there. So that's why, potentially we have the capacity biologically to grow back anything, even arm, head, I don't know, but anyway, like the starfish, we have the same base DNA. And the reason why a starfish can grow back a leg or arm, or whatever you call them, is because the need for it. Someone wants to eat a starfish, the starfish is gonna just drop arm on the leg, they eat that, and I'm getting away, okay? I'll come back with another one later. So basically save your life. You don't need to have that, so your arm is not gonna grow back, because your body has other priorities in terms of using that energy. Again, it's terms of priorities and the amount of energy you have. So even though you have a missing piece of your intestines, the blueprint is still there and the energy is still there. So yes, your consciousness is present, it's no problem. The only thing is that it has been traumatized and needs to heal from that. Yes, that's an important part. So again, doing everything possible to sleep. And the way to heal is to sleep it over. Nothing to fix. Fixing is going to take the energy away from the healing process, and that's the big problem we have in this in medicine and in our allopathic perspective of healing. And that's why healing is not understood. We need to integrate that part of holistic approach to medicine in order to be able not only to recover but to thrive in life. Again, to end up stronger than before we got sick, not weaker. So eventually, if you go through your healing process, even you have a piece of your colon missing, as a person, you'll be much stronger, more stable, and more a bigger person than you were before you had surgery. So that's the good news. Okay, does that answer the question? Any other question?
Yeah, there's a few more questions. Let's see. Can you talk a little bit about napping? Can that help us gain energy to sleep at night?
Absolutely, especially in the afternoon. If you go around the world, if you travel a little bit, and notice where people are very healthy, when they live long, and Crete is one of those places. Crete is actually the geographical place in Europe where you have the highest longevity. Not only highest longevity, but also the highest level of sexual energy. People have sex even pretty old age, and they enjoy it. That's another thing. So, sexual life, sleeping, and longevity very well together, connected together. And again, I think they have a whole class, sexual energy. So sexual energy is not only for sex, it's a social energy. And yes, sex is very important because it's very specific kind of social life called intimacy that needs to be cultivated. And that we have a big problem in our Western civilization here. But anyhow, longevity, and sleeping, taking naps during the day. And in Crete, especially, and all over Greece, actually all over the Mediterranean, there's something very sacred, is napping time, nap time. You don't go visit people between 12 noon and 3 in the afternoon. It's very impolite. It has to be emergency. And even if emergency, people avoid it. Is it that urgent? Let's have a nap first. That's healthier. And napping is very important for sleep, but also very important for sex life. Another problem we have in the civilization is that sex is on the back burner, meaning that we have sex only when we have time, when we have energy for it, or it's a quickie, real fast. We go to bed, we have sex. No, it's the worst time to have sex because you're tired. You don't want to have sex when you're tired. You want to take your time and enjoy, like anything in your life, especially for that. So napping, for so many different reasons, very important. And you can nap right before you go to bed. Don't try to nap too late, of course, because then your body wants to be in a really deeper sleep cycle. But napping is very important to get you to maintain that parasympathetic response in your body and be able to keep it at night. So we have a such thing called sleeping Qigong, and advice, check on the website. You can download the practices and everything. There's a double CD full of practices in there. And be able to cultivate your capacity to sleep deeper and longer every night in order to basically catch up with what I call sleep depth toward your body, toward your bed, basically. And when you catch up with depth, then you can start to really enjoy your energy and be a better waking life. That's our purpose. The purpose is not to sleep so much, but to have your vital energy during daytime, and not only vital, but enjoyable. And it's not going to be enjoyable if you're suffering from emotional indigestion. So that's why it's part of in the booklet, the third chapter is about dream time, allowing your body to dream. And what's important is not so much to remember the dreams or to understand the dreams, is to have the dream that's important. And eventually remembering is going to come when you have a little more energy for it to invest, and eventually have some level of understanding, which is beyond rational thinking. It's about really resonating at the conscious level with your dream, willing to work with it. And then we get into a deeper practice called lucid dreaming. But that's also a lot of energy, and that needs to be cultivated before we can get to that place. And again, the more consciousness we can put into that process, and that's why we do that meditation, and that human potential fusion meditation, that to enhance the capacity for your body to digest emotionally. And the more we put attention into the process, the more we put consciousness, the greater, the positive effects in our capacity to digest better and better all the time. So I'm getting into more serious ground here. So any questions?
Let's see. There's a question kind of about the difference between sleep and dream time. Mm-hmm. There's also a question about brainwave frequencies.
Yeah.
They might tie in together.
Science, a big part of science, because working with the rational thinking, is very satisfying in terms of the rational thinking, but mostly is entertaining. A lot of energy for entertainment is put in there. And so it's enjoyable. Oh, it's interesting. We have different waves when we sleep. Now, what does that do and how that works exactly? It's way too complicated for us to understand. So I'm completely disinterested about the whole thing. I don't want to make it a problem for me to solve. Okay. Yes, we have different brain waves, and actually, it doesn't take much to change your brain waves. Put your head in water, and you have completely different brain waves already. Lie down instead of standing up. You have different brain waves. Now, what are the results really? And how can we enhance it if it's good? Or, what kind of, basically it's what's important is what kind of results you want. So my mind is not so much to try to cultivate brain waves as try to find a magic drug that's going to make me get to those brain waves, but to go to the natural way that the body is already set up to do it perfectly without knowing what you're doing. And the same way that you eat without knowing exactly how much, in there is the vitamin you need, or the protein and the carbohydrates and the fat. Just follow your appetite. And your appetite is going to guide you precisely, not only to eat the right thing, but even how to eat it. If you pay attention, your body does it all the time. And when you eat, you have a plate with different kind of foods in there. You don't eat from left to right or right to left on anything in order, like whatever is there. No, you choose. I want to have a bite of this. You chew it. Now I feel a bite of that, and you chew it. And now a bite of that. This is following your appetite. Your body's going to make you eat in a way that combines the food in order for them to get to extract exactly what's needed in there. And I tell you, we don't need much of all that food, but we need to eat a lot more so the body has a wider spectrum of choice to pick only the very best. That's when we're healthy. Everything is going to be eliminated, good or bad, doesn't matter. So same thing with dreams. We're digesting emotionally. So we dump all those emotions on the table of your sleep time in our dreams. It's not rational. It's very abstract. And there's everything here all at once on the table. And the body basically is going to do the picking up. I need to digest this first and this first. And when I digest this, it's going to help you to digest that. So that's the building of your maturity. Progressively digesting piece by piece. Way too complicated to know exactly what the body is doing, and who cares? And you don't want to, waste your mental energy into those kind of details. Use your mental energy to do the work. So doing the practice and doing the healing sounds during the day to get you the right chemistry, doing the sunning, going to bed early, and to think, to focus, basically, you're on a healing process. So you give yourself a prescription. And the prescription is that I want to put more of my energy on my healing process. My sleep time is becoming a bigger priority than what I need to accomplish at night. I mean, during daytime of my day. It's always going to be tomorrow. There's no such thing as the work is always going to be, unfinished. There's always something to do. Let's keep some for tomorrow. Let's do just what I can enjoy doing today and focus my energy, save the energy for tonight. So tonight, I have a big job. Means digesting my emotion. That's a very big job. I need energy for it. And so you need to set your mind for it, instead of just always being on the back burner all the time. And your body's trying to seize moments to digest a piece of this or a piece of that. And that's why you're not awake in daytime, you're still dreaming. But it's accidental dreams, dream time. It's not voluntary. So again, a basic Taoist approach, you want to control your life better instead of your life controlling you. And so that's the approach. Okay. I think another question. How are you doing with time? Oh, we still have another 20 minutes. Yeah. Questions about the practice. So I want to make sure that you guys can do that every day, be able to develop it. So the healing sounds, sound, the sunning to get your body to make more serotonin. And if it's not sunny, have the habit always stop what you're doing and look for things beautiful to look at and taking the beauty in. That changes your chemistry. No matter where you are, what you're doing, what situation, it's always something nice to look at. You have to pick it up and extract it or whatever else there is going on here and absorb it. Reminding yourself that life is to be enjoyed. And here's where is that joy of life is right there in front of you. Enjoying beauty, enjoying what's, wow, you know, they're looking at things, oh, that's nice. Absorbing that. So questions about practice. I see that there is a number 7 on my chat thing here.
How do those 2 healing sounds relate with the 6 healing sounds that, you know, some of us might be familiar with?
Ah, they're the same. It's the same principle.
Uh-huh.
It's the same place.
Okay.
Basic 6 healing sounds. We're going to get to there. First, start with those 2, most important. And those 2 follow the meridian system of daytime. And when you wake up in the morning, that's Earth meridian system. So you, well, you know, it depends on what time you wake up. I like to wake up late a little bit, you know, take my time. So it's already 7 in the morning, at least. So that's Earth already. From 7 to 11, you have stomach meridian. 7 to 9, and then 9 to 11, spleen pancreas. So that's the time of the day to be functional, to do accomplish things. So what I'm going to do today, I have to do that. Let's enjoy it. Going the and then it's noon. It's high noon, so that's fire already. So from stomach, spleen, pancreas, we go to heart meridian, small intestine. So that's the first cycle of 8 hours during the day. We have 3 cycles of 8 hours. Like it's going to give us 6 healing sounds. So that's the first meridian, daytime meridian cycle. So we want to enjoy life during daytime. So those are the sound to go. And next week we do the afternoon sound, evening sound to prepare for bed. Very important. But now we have to enjoy life, build the serotonin. All that serotonin is going to turn eventually into melatonin at night. Did I answer the question? Okay. David, you're muted. So if you, okay. No, you are muted. So if you say something, I'm not going to hear it.
No,
here we go.
I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good anyway.
So another question? So no question, well, let's do more practice. So let's review last week practice. You're at the restaurant and you want to address all the intelligences in order to pick whatever food is better for you to eat right here, right now. That's going to satisfy your appetite. How's that? It takes only 5 minutes. So let's sit in a way that is good for your body to integrate this knowledge, not only at the brain level, but to your whole body. So thinking as you inhale, connecting with earth. And connect with earth where you sit, you connect with your body for that, your inner earth. Sinking as you inhale and pushing your body weight comfortably to the ground as you exhale. You're plugging into life. I am part of existence right here, right now. I exist. I live. I'm part of the whole tapestry of existence. And I share the source of life with everything alive around me. Earth intelligence. And now in your back, you have your past. You have your water energy. That gives you a pattern of habits. And what is it that you used to like and still like? And that's your water taste. And what is it that is familiar? So what's in your bloodstream, basically? In my bloodstream, I have both Italian, three, Italian, French, and Vietnamese. So I have rice from the Asian part, and the Italian I have pasta and pizza, and the French side, of course, French fries. So I have a lot of choices. But right here, right now, what do I feel like? It depends. So water coming into earth and getting to and be in touch with the past. And what attracts you? Oh yeah, rice, potatoes, and pasta, yes, but maybe you know, I want something a little different today. I feel like, oh, let's do something, you know, that's gonna satisfy me for this season, for example. Fire in front of you. And then connecting with that, of course, wood intelligence, what you should be eating or shouldn't be eating. Oh yeah, this I know, the last time I ate, I didn't digest well. So that's important. That's your wood intelligence, rational thinking. Maybe not so much of that, or whatever. And I feel like I need more greens, for example. So maybe looks for something with vegetables, with something else that will satisfy me more, whatever. What kind of greens to make me satisfied with what kind of protein, what kind of, you know, whatever. So calculation. And then, you know, metal. Metal, it's like, oh, the way I feel like, what would make me feel good? Am I celebrating something? If I celebrate, so I have to have something special, something that really is going to make me shine, personality, something that matches my image or whatever, or something that, you know, makes me really enjoy as metal, or something that I, you know, especially if you have a meal with someone else, something you want to share and enjoy together. And that's also very metal communication. It's your first contact, emotional. Has to be emotionally charged. Okay, so you're in front of the menu and you connect with that. So you look at the menu. Oh, and what's my appetite for today? Something that's familiar or something that's completely new? Something that's attractive or something that's familiar? Water or fire? And be careful about what you should and shouldn't be eating. Right? So that's wood. Oh, this is attractive because it looks like, oh, there is more vegetable on this, and there is this and that. But then there is a metal say, yeah, but no, I don't feel like it. I feel like something more effective. Let's go for fresh fries, no problem. You know, I don't go every day to restaurant. You know, so forget about shoulds. So yeah, you have to basically put everything on the table. And then your table, the set, or your earth, going to decide. So be able to extract something from the past, something that's habitual, familiar, but still attractive. So something new in there, something that attracts you. And then answering to your wood, maybe not too expensive. That's also calculation. Or where maybe you want to invest. Yeah. And on the metal, maybe you want to impress someone, right? So something festive, something that makes you look good. Oh, you know, it makes you feel, oh, that's a refinement. That's metal. Okay. So keep that, those 5 considerations about your mind, and the 4 directions going to that center, the place of decision, and decide to basically have a bargain within yourself with all the intelligences and decide something that will satisfy every single part of you. So bargaining with yourself. And the result is again going to the sound. It has to be looking forward to it. So you can't wait until you get to your plate being served to you. Say, ah. So 2 practices this week I'm going to put together. And always asking and the 5 intelligences, and just try to decide from the central functional earth intelligence to satisfy everyone, every intelligences. And that's going to help you to keep the chemistry in a way that allows you to have better sleep and enhance your dream time. Does that work?
How about a consequence of what you realize was a bad decision or the wrong decision? Like the food comes, you're like, oh, wait a minute. No.
Yeah. So, again, ask yourself, is it really worth it? And also, of course, as a Westerner, you have like a problem coming up. So wood is going to come out. Yeah. Okay, calculation. Is it worth it? Am I going to want to wait to get another meal? Can I pick up something in there that I can really make a sense, or just order something entirely different? So that's the possibilities. Then again, the decision cannot be taken from there, from the other side of your soul, your mental experience. Oh, does that is going to satisfy me? It's going to bring, maybe I don't dare do that. I might not look good or something. Basically, it has to work with, again, your appearance, your metal. And your water, is it, well, but, is it comfortable? Is it familiar? So your decision is to come from a central place of functionality there. I have to return it back. I don't like this. I'm not gonna be satisfied with it. So then you take your decision. But again, the decision has to come from all the directions at the same time.
I guess when that happens, it's a learning lesson of maybe which,
Yeah, and always,
future.
Next time is going to be better. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
I'll be back and try something else on that restaurant. Or it tells you, I'm never going to go back to that restaurant. Anyway, you have a lesson. You learn something. So that's benefit. Okay. So maybe time for another question. Just a few minutes. Gonna check on the chat.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Injuries versus pathology. Can injuries be healed in the same way that pathologies can be?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, most of the injuries we get are symptomatic. So getting into the habit of looking at the injuries from a healing perspective. What do I learn from this? How am I going to grow out of this thing? Especially when you do that to yourself. You fell. No one failed you. You tripped on something, meaning that, and you hurt in a way, when you hurt yourself, you have to understand you do that the very precise way. It's not random, especially with injuries. Injuries are never random. You're going to hurt yourself a very precise place that has a lot of meaning. And you use that accident as like a pathology. It's symptomatic. You use it as a symptom. And from there, you get to heal the reason why you hurt yourself, basically. Or got hurt. Same thing.
So even in like martial arts injuries or car accidents?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all the same. Yeah. Yeah. Injuries are important factors in the healing process. And I learned that working with people with scars. And the healing of scars gets you into a deep healing process. And that has the connection with any scar in the body connected with the guts and the structure and the way you breathe, and all that. And it's emotionally charged with the emotional landscape around the time the accident happened.
Okay.
Yeah, when we do the emotional body in Chinese Sang Tao Touch, we get into that, you know, the investigation of the emotional landscape around the time of accidents. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's so much in there, you know, that's why, you know, classes is important, and also read the books. You know, there's so much more in the books that I can just explain, you know, in a class or even, you know, during a seminar, and come up with questions so that you are more specific in terms of the information you get. So that was a good question about called accidents and being hurt, getting hurt. Mm. Okay. Are we doing?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we're wrapping it up.
Okay.
I think next week, are we going to shift focus? Do you want to?
Yes, I want to have a little parenthesis on where we're at right here, right now, on this pandemic thing and how we react in a way that really help people to not to be so negatively affected by it, both emotional and physical level, and be able to get to a place where we would never ever need to go through that again, and to be able to end up stronger and to learn something about it. So we had already had a class a few weeks ago on, I think it was the first class, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the material is already there, but that was time of we need to go protect ourselves and go into hiding, basically. That's, you know, hiding could be a very good strategy, but eventually you have to come out of hiding. And when you come out of that hiding, you make sure you're strong. So that's going to be the subject of next. And we can always review, you know, all the things we've been through, you know, all that.
Yeah, and we'll definitely come back as, you know, this container in this group.
Yeah.
Whether it be in 2 weeks or something like that, and especially when the third booklet is ready.
Yes, it's getting there.
Okay.
It's going to be a big booklet, a bigger booklet. So yeah.
Okay. Well, we're kind of playing it by ear, so, you know.
Yes,
stay
but
tuned.
anyways, always going to be practice, you know, no problem. So next Friday, same time, same place.
Indeed.
Cool. All
All
right.
right, everybody. Thank you so
Good day,
much.
everyone. Thank you for being here. Yes,
Thank you.
for supporting. Nice to see you. All right.
David, hugs to your child.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
How old is
Yeah.
he?
David, can you
He's
stay
almost
with-
5.
1 more minute? I want to check something because next time I might need to share screen.
Yeah.
And I need to know how to do that.
Okay, we'll stay on the line.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Kaleo,
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right.
Eric,
Yes.
Tara,
Hey,
Pamela. Thank you,
all right.
everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Adios.
Adios.
Adios. Nos vemos.
All right. Okay. So, David, about sharing screen, I see the share screen right on my, so I want to try it basically. I want to see if I
Okay.
can put a document. So I'm going to push the button and great, I see all the different things I have on my, here, look at that. I can even share Google Map. Ooh,
There we go. It's working.
oh, look at that. Oh, come back. Nice about connectivity and so let's go to Crete. I show you the place in Crete, Lissos Sanctuary, the Lissos Sanctuary of Asclepion. Here, let me see here. Let's get closer to Crete. Oh,
Oops.
come back. It's on this part of Crete here. See, it's on the southern side, which this is a big mountain range. So it's very hard to cross. Oh, Soja, here we go. So that's the place we have to go by road. See, there's the road. It's very climbing the mountain.
Oh, wow.
Zigzag. Takes a long time. See, it's a small island, but it takes forever to get anywhere.
Right.
So you get to that place here. And here you take, you rent a boat basically from a local fisherman that's going to bring you to here,
Ah.
to this bay here. So it's not much, but if you go by foot, look at the trail to go up there. It takes 2 hours to up here and down the other valley, and down to where we go is right here.
Huh.
And Lissos, see Lissos, archaeological site. And even I can show you Asclepion of Lissos. Here it goes. That's the temple of Asclepius.
Huh.
Right here. You see how close we can get. Aha. Yeah, look at that. We can see the walls and the floor. That's the picture I have on my back.
Oh, yeah.
The floor that's already here.
Huh.
See, you can see a little bit here. So that's as far, as close I can get.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the place here.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Ancient.
So, yeah. So good for Google. Sometimes it's good to have.
Sure, it's the eye in the sky. But
yes. But
pros and cons.
if you can use the eye yourselves, it's good.
True.
So that's Crete. And the center we are is actually, let me see here, that's the bay. So we'll be like right here. A small village called Aptera. That's near Sauda. Sauda is here.
Mm-hmm.
Aptera, that's the village. And the owner of the place we're in used to be the mayor of Aptera.
Oh.
Acrimius. So Taverna Acrimius, that's the place. That's the place we are.
Beautiful. It gets the sunrise, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the northern part of Istis over there. I show you the rock I had on my back last time. Acrimius is here. So that's a little, see that little cross?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's the church. Here's the little white chapel that's right next to the rock.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures.
Yeah. Ooh, here we go. Here it is. The rock is right here. That's the chapel.
Nice.
And see, that's the pathway. There is an underground river that comes right there.
Wow.
And the spring comes out right up there. It's beautiful.
Right.
When you see white chapel like that anywhere in Greece, that means there is water.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it could, that's how people get guided. You know, that's for the fishermen come here, have a drink. You know, there's goats all over the place here. So the shepherds, you know, that they know where to go. Oh, wow, look at that. See, those are actually tables and not cars.
Oh.
The little tables they're used for altars. See, that's a Orthodox, Christian Orthodox church.
Christian,
as
yeah.
you can get.
Greek Orthodox, right?
Yeah. So let me see. You can see the center. Then we go up that trail like that. It's a little trail. It goes to the beach. And here's the center.
Mm-hmm.
That's Acrimius. Yeah. Let me see if we can, can we get any closer?
Oh, yeah, there, Horizon Center for Life and Creation.
Exactly. And there is a swimming pool right here.
Pool, right.
Yeah. And that's the place. Oh, no.
Yeah,
that's the property. It's not the place. Horizon here. Here's the pool.
Right, there's the pool.
Oh, that's another house.
Right, that blue.
Here's the center.
Nice.
Ooh, can get really close. Oops. Yeah.
Oh, hey, street view.
Street view. Let me see. There we go.
Hey.
That's the place.
Hi, Ingrid.
Premius. There's a truck right in front of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go.